Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Councilman Steve Huppert if he would return the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this meeting of the Christiansburg Town Council to order. Do not have any recognitions tonight, I don't think. Okay. Next item is the consent agenda.
I make a motion that we adopt the consent agenda.
That is council minutes as of February 24th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop?
Aye.
Councilman Hall?
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Showalter?
Aye.
Councilman Van Hoosier?
Aye.
All right, believe we have it.
Mr. Mayor, we've actually moved beyond this, but I need to actually move to see if we could modify the agenda for this evening.
Okay.
Mr. Sellers is in attendance. He was out of the state for quite a while. He's back this evening. I'd like to add him to the agenda for consideration of renewing his term on the Recreation Commission.
All right, how about we do that just prior to the updates from Montgomery County and the library and
Sir?
museums and this type of stuff. So we'll do him A1.
Yes, sir.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll amend that part of the agenda.
And Mayor, I'd like to amend a part of the agenda to add, at least have our town manager, attorney to look into a review process of violators of our policies for business licenses, building permits, and inspections.
All right, we will do that under item 5, right after citizens' comments. I'm just going to write Henry.
I need a second. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we're good. Mr. Hall? Mr. Sailors is here if you'd like to proceed with his reappointment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. And Mr. Sellers, if you don't mind standing up, I don't mean to call you out. I would give my full backing to Mr. Sellers being reappointed to the Recreation Commission. He's a valuable member to what we do there. He actually brings a bit of a knowledge of some engineering and those types of backgrounds a lot of us lack. He was instrumental when we dealt with the issue with the asking for allocation of funds and finances for the, we redid the lighting system prior to doing the flooring. I mean, he's worth his weight in gold to the commission, and he's always there. Again, unless he's out of state doing something that, again, who knows what, but he's always very, very busy. But I would make it in the form of a motion that we reappoint Mr. Sellers, who's here tonight, to another term on the Recreation Commission.
I second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Appreciate you coming in, Mr. Sellers.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
I know you're
Michael.
busy.
I appreciate the opportunity to serve the town, and thank you for having the confidence in me to be on the commission.
You've been an integral part for a long time, Mike. We appreciate it.
Well,
He's
thank
still,
you.
I think, umpires and referees and in his spare time. He's always up there. Thank you very much, Mr. Sellers.
Thank you.
So do we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of Mr. Saylor's reappointment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Certainly there's no one opposed. Congratulations, Mr. Saylors. We have an update from Paula Austin, Director of Montgomery Floyd Regional Library. Paula, good to have you back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got copies of our annual report here for members of council and a little flyer about an upcoming program. I have flyers for you all too, so I'll pass it around. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Town Council, Mr. Helms. I want to thank you again for your annual donation to the Christiansburg Library. We so appreciate the support that we receive from Town Council. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your service to the town. You know, I take every opportunity I have to remind you that the public libraries aren't just a nice thing to have in our community, but they're a necessity. It's an important element of our democracy and of our communities. It all starts with early childhood literacy. Children who are exposed to books early on and who come from homes that are filled with books have better, healthier lives as children, and they have fuller lives as adults. We like to think that they stay in school longer and they stay out of trouble easier. As it turns out, they also turn into information literate adults who are armed with the skills and the knowledge that they need to live, to contribute to our community, and to govern our community. It all starts with a picture book as simple as this one, and it looks pretty simple, basic colors, 2 words per page, but to a 6-month-old, this is the start of their literary life, and this is what makes them a lifelong learner, and we want to help contribute to that. This is one of the reasons why we started the little libraries in places like the Aquatic Center, the community clinic, and the lobby of the DSS building. We are planning 2 little free libraries, which are different from the free libraries. The little free libraries are outside in parks, on street corners, and we're planning one for the little park on Depot Street, as well as one in Reiner. We want people to come to the library and check out our books, but we just want people to keep reading, and so we want to put books where they can have them and get them. So we're happy that you agreed with the citizen who wants to put a little free library in the Depot Park. We pay much attention to what our patrons request, and they send me requests all the time, between 80 and 100 items a month, or what we get requests for from patrons. And we add many of those to our collection. So you can see that your donation is important to the Christiansburg Library. Here's a few stats. I like to give you the statistics for the library each year. And this year, Christiansburg has checked out over 131,000 items, and they've had a door count of 78,000 people so far. That's 26 people in our building on Sheltman Street for every hour that we are open. The Story Walk has been an exciting addition to the library and to the park behind the library. We opened this last April with much fanfare, and the mayor was there. It's used a lot. We keep statistics on this, and as does the Parks Department. And we were happy that they were willing to collaborate with us on this effort. It's been so successful that now we have the Blacksburg Library talking to the town of Blacksburg about adding something similar to the library half of the Huckleberry Trail. So we're hoping we'll be able to get that going soon. We do change out the story on a monthly basis, so there's something new to keep you occupied and interested as you do your walk on that little path. This year, new to the Christiansburg Library is a maker space we're calling a zine space. A zine is a little book. It can be a magazine, it can be a collection of recipes, art that you put together, your poetry, whatever, and we've got the tools for you to bind it into a little book. And so we would like you to come to the library and put together a little book of whatever you want. It's suitable for all ages. We kicked this off a couple of weeks ago, and we had children in there illustrating their own graphic novels. We had people putting together recipe books and things like that. So it's a very useful spot, and it'll grow as we acquire other things to make it unique. Our Artist in Residence program won the Best Adult Program for population over 80,000 from the Virginia Public Library Directors Association last April, and it continues strong with more artists scheduled for the next couple of months. The library is partnering with the Montgomery Museum over the next couple of months to have space for some of their artists to come in too. I know our music programs are always a big hit, and so I've got a couple of save the dates for you. I gave you a flyer on our March 22nd program. This is Paul Little on guitar and Pete Hastings on harmonica. It'll be at 3 p.m. on Sunday the 22nd. On Friday, we'll be part of the Mountains of Music being promoted by the Crooked Road, and I believe Lisa is here to tell you a little bit about that tonight. We'll have a group called Wound Tight on June 12th at 7 p.m. outside the library, and then they'll appear at the museum the next day. On October 24th, the library will host a big band concert by a group called Old Pros. We want you to dress the part and come and expect to dance. All these programs are sponsored by the Friends of the Library, and we could not do it without their help. So we're very appreciative to our friends. We continue to struggle with being able to provide enough ebooks for our patrons. Everybody seems to think they need something for their Kindle, and we can't keep those virtual books on the shelf, but we try. We just contracted with 3M Cloud, the 3M Library Cloud, to add more ebooks to our collection. So this will enhance what we already have from our vendors, Overdrive and One Click Digital. And then last fall, we added Hoopla. Hoopla is a streaming program that allows patrons to stream movies, television shows, music, and downloadable books. And I believe that they are soon going to add ebooks to their repertoire too. So a little bit on the budget front for FY16. We are expecting a slight decrease in our state aid from the state, but this is not a cut necessarily. It's formula driven. The state aid is formula driven, and so that's what is causing our decrease. We probably didn't have the statistics that we had last year. And we do compete with all the other regional libraries around the state for the regional slice of state aid. Montgomery County continues to be very supportive. This year they did a terrific job keeping our parking lots in the Christiansburg and Meadowbrook libraries plowed of all the snow. And in the spring and summer they do a great job with the landscaping and keeping the lawn mowed. We cannot ask for a better partner in providing library services to the community rather than Montgomery County and what they do for us. So I hope you'll join us on March 18th at 7:30. I believe you all received an invitation to a reception hosted by the library board. They want to thank you for what you do for the town, and they also want to have a chance to get to know you a little bit better. So please join us. They're doing all the baking, so there will be some nice treats there. Thank you again for your time tonight, for listening to me, and thank you again for your annual donation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Ms. Austin, how many little libraries have you all satellited off of the Montgomery-Floyd Regional Library?
The little libraries, the ones that we put inside buildings, I think we have 8 now in the 2 counties. And the little free libraries, which are the ones outside, we're working on one on Depot Street, one in Reiner, and we talked to people in Willis last week, and they already have theirs up. So they were quite excited.
I've heard Pete and Paul Little over at Gillies about a couple months ago, and they just are great, and it's a great selection that you have. And it's, you know, for all kinds of music. I think your people will really enjoy that, and that's a great pick by you.
We're kicking off spring with Paul and Pete, so come and tap your toes. I think it'll be a great program. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate your
Paul.
time.
Thank you.
We have an update next from Sue Farrar regarding the Mountains of Music Homecoming event scheduled for June 13th, 2015. Ms. Sue, you're on.
Thank you. I like being on.
And Dewey.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor and council members and Mr. Helms, I'm so glad to be here. I am Sue Farrar, director of the Montgomery Museum, and this is my walking easel. I want to take a minute because I've never been here with anybody here from our group. So can I just let you all know who came to support this whole thing?
Certainly.
This is Dewey Rotenberry, board member, Jimmy Blanchard, board member, Kevin Stoner, board member emeritus, and our board president, Kim Herrick. Anybody else who came in? And Lisa Blakely is here because she's working with us and our friends. So aren't we wonderful? This is the greatest group. I've got great news. June is coming, believe it or not, and with it is coming Mountains of Music Homecoming. And this is a 9-day celebration of cultural heritage and music traditions in all of Southwest Virginia, sponsored by the Crooked Road. You all might remember last year we had a wonderful week of Crooked Road events. It sort of just happened, and this 9-day event was in the plans last year, so we've been looking forward to it all year. I'm going to just tell you, this might be what our advertisement looks like, but this is not our official advertisement, and you don't have to stand here the whole time if you don't want to. But this is my walking easel. The museum is so pleased to be part of this and be hosting our first annual Musical Traditions at Montgomery Museum. I have to say that a lot more because I'm not used to it yet. It's the name we finally came to. This will be on June 13th, and this is part of this whole heritage experience. The day will feature 5 musical groups, various wineries, there'll be 3, and there'll be tasting and consuming as you want, beer and food, and artisans demonstrating their crafts. We'll also have picking on the front porch, so if you have an instrument you want to bring, this is not a professional experience. And we'll have young artists in the gazebo during the intermission times for the main stage setup. As one of 11 venues in Montgomery County, we join over 250 other events in all of Southwest Virginia. Now, this is the first year this has happened, so this is immense. This is a huge, huge event. Where some of the performances that are very big will be at Christiansburg High School and at the Moss Art Center. Those are sponsored by the Crooked Road. I don't know who's on, but they are the biggest events. We're told we've got another big event, so we're excited about it. One of the very important things to me is that this is an opportunity for the museum to move beyond a 2-dimensional venue and be a performing arts center, which is something I have hoped to see ever since I came here 6 years ago. It's very exciting. As director of the museum, I see this as a huge opportunity to affect tourism in this community, as this will shine a bright light on the town of Christiansburg and really put it on the map. People are going to come from way beyond the town and way beyond the county to follow these musicians who they favor. We have some names that people really recognize and want to hear. This really is way beyond the museum, and it's way beyond the town, and it's way beyond the county. We are extremely excited, a little nervous, but real excited. I'm excited to be part of celebrating our cultural heritage, while at the same time encouraging, laying the groundwork for a network of young people and a new generation for this museum. You know how we all look, most of us, so you can see all this sitting here, which is just great. But this event is going to be bigger than we are at this time. We just look forward to working with the town and the county on this venture, and expect it to be a wonderful event for everybody. And I expect you probably have some questions. I've left a lot open.
When are you going to be in a position to announce which musicians you're going to have?
Now,
Okay?
you want to know?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
All right, the big guys are Lost and Found.
Okay.
We have Francis and Olin Gardner, a
Okay.
group called the Comptons, isn't that right?
That's
That's
Floyd
a
County
gospel
group.
Pardon?
That's the Floyd County group.
Yep. And then these other two, I don't know I don't know exactly the order. The Lost and Found will be last, but the other two are Loose Strings and then Wound Tight. Does that just figure? Oh, well. Anyway, so they'll be playing it'll go from 11 to 6. So we've got pretty much an all-day event. And the stage will be down in the parking lot, and people bring chairs and sit up the lawn, kind of in that little natural amphitheater.
You mentioned that you're gonna have, hopefully having people come in from maybe 50 miles away or more. What can the town do to help you out?
We will need to advertise. We will tag on to some of the Mountains of Music Homecoming advertising, which is huge. They have partnered with the tourism office, and so there's a lot going on with that, and we'll be able to tag some of that. And then we'll develop our own wonderful moving easel person, compliments of Sheila. And it's going to look something like this. And we'll be involved with newspapers and radio and TV out there.
Financially, you're in good shape, or?
We can use help. But do you think the museum is ever financial? You get a life. You're asking me. Good question, Steve.
That was a very subtle hint, Steve. Thank you. I have talked to Sue and some of the board members and some of the people that support the museum, and I'm extremely, they are a lot more excited about this event than anything I've seen them do in a long time. And I think that with the location of the museum, it is certainly within the Christiansburg town limits, and I think that's something that we as a town need to be on board and support. I know there is an application for some grant money for helping with parking and this type thing, but I'd also, in the next few days or a few weeks, would like to enter into discussion with council, and I think we have talked about it, through tourism, about some money to help fund this, the initial seed of this thing in around $3,000,
Yes.
plus the other things. So I'm gonna be working on council, working with council, I should say. I don't think I have to
So
work.
we're going.
But I think that there, and we'll be checking on the availability of tourism money, and I think we'll have to have a special vote on this permit for the stages and things, but I would like to think that council will support this.
I would assume they would go through our normal process of filling out the grant request.
We have that, but it's
Okay.
not on town property. That's where we're
Yeah.
having to make an adjustment there. But the financial side of it is I think important to get the league bands and the people here to make this thing go. I envision a lot of people
We
through
do
here that
too.
day.
We do
I mean,
too.
I really do. I've seen, I went to the Moss Center last year, and it was, it was very well attended, and being an outdoor venue and a good time of the year, I would anticipate we have very good attendance, not only from the town, but from surrounding areas, because people will follow their favorite groups.
They do,
I mean, that's
they do.
that's been proven to me several times, so. But anyway,
Mike, are you talking about something above and beyond the events application?
yes,
So the events application, whatever we do with that,
yeah, I don't have the cost figures on it, but I'm
But
thinking
you're
a
talking-
monetary contribution to fund, to become a partner for this year on this thing.
Maybe something out of the tourism account, is that what you're
Uh,
thinking?
We're hoping to.
Okay.
We're looking at it. We're very, well, I don't know whether Barry has any secret funds or not, secret accounts, I'll find it.
You got your wallet on your back?
So anyway, well,
You
but,
want, the museum light post banners downtown during the whole week for that event as well?
Oh, yes, please.
You wanna make a note of that?
Awesome.
The one across,
The
The pole banners.
The pole
all banners
banners,
for the museum.
I'd say for
Yeah.
at least 2 weeks.
That's great.
There's only 47 of those, isn't there?
I will say.
That's all.
we're almost out of twist ties.
I will say that I have met with the planning folks in town. They could not have been more helpful or more wonderful to work with. I've submitted that request and the permit and all that, and we've gone through that. So they were very, very helpful and expect to help us do what we need. And I think maybe Lisa would just make a comment about her part in this and how she helped us. We're really stretching and excited.
Well, just a couple of remarks that I think may be appropriate to what Sue has already very well articulated. It is a pretty big deal over Southwest Virginia, and you all are aware that we're plugged in as far as the regional tourism office in a pretty big way to the Crooked Road in general. But this Mountains of Music Homecoming is going to afford us an opportunity to really get our name out there. There's going to be an overall program that will be distributed. There is a company, Market Connections, it's on board already, that has developed a marketing plan, and so I should have brought it with me, but there's a few publications that already are carrying full-page ads. And then with this program, though, that will be distributed through a number of outlets, we'll have all of the localities and the cultural experiences and performances listed there. So it's going to get into a number of folks' hands, not only in Southwest Virginia, but also their marketing to a good portion of the Mid-Atlantic region, and even to some extent internationally, because you may know that bluegrass music, heritage music, has a pretty good following internationally. So we just expect this to be a great first year and hope to see it grow. So thank you.
Yeah, we're just, as you know, the museum, you've heard us talk for a long time, and we're getting younger, and this is so great. So we have different energy and ideas, and I'm counting on that. My young guys here, this is great. But do you all have any other questions? You know where to find us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. I love the word partner. It's just my favorite word.
Very good. Next, we have an update from Terry Caldwell, the Aquatics Director, regarding the Aquatic Center.
Good evening, Mayor Barber and Town Council. As always, it's a pleasure to come before you to report on the Christiansburg Aquatic Center. But I would like to begin with thanking Paula and Sue for the work that you do in our town. You have a great partnership with the Aquatic Center, and I really appreciate that. The little library is in our lobby at the Aquatic Center, and out of nowhere, the books appear, so we appreciate that, and I see them go daily by adults and by children. They actually sit around the round table in the lobby and read the books, so we really appreciate that idea. It was a wonderful thank you. And Sue gets to borrow our tables when we're closed during maintenance shutdown week for the Heritage Festival, so it's just wonderful. And to remind you, the end of August is when we close for the maintenance shutdown week for 2 weeks. I wanted to basically come here tonight, for one thing, I have quite a few things, but is to unveil the slide and take this opportunity to thank you. If you'll remember, during the budget process last year, the slide was in there, children's slide at the Aquatic Center. And when you kept that appropriation in the budget, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the children and let you know how we came about with the final vote. I originally wanted to go into the community and allow them to vote. I thought it was important to give them the opportunity to have part of the Aquatic Center. So the original plan was to go onto Facebook, and you were going to vote there, and then that would increase our likes on Facebook, which that happened. We increased our Facebook likes by 500, which I thought was huge. Now we have 500 more followers on our Facebook page. But after speaking with our public relations department, with Becky and Allison, we all decided that we needed to take the slides into the preschool program. So we have an employee at the Aquatic Center who works for the Christiansburg Head Start program. And she said, why don't you come to Head Start? So we loaded up the little pictures, and we had little boxes in front of each slide, and each little child was given a token. And after hearing a little brief message from me, they individually got to go up and place their token in the slide that they liked best. So we tallied those along with the Facebook, and also voting at the Aquatic Center. And the winner is the alligator.
Wow.
Yep. So the alligator won by 34%, and next in line was Nemo. And then down the line were the fish. So within the next several months, you'll be able to see the alligator being displayed. I mean, I don't have a date for you yet, still working with the manufacturing on getting that through the door. And I wanted to add that we were fairly limited to the size, the different amount of slides due to the doors at the Aquatic Center. So we had to make sure that the slide was going to fit through the doors, obviously, to put it into the beach entry of the leisure pool. So it'd go kind of right next to the buckets and to the other spray fountain. So it may have been maybe walking up into the alligator's mouth might have been the winning trait there. So I wanted to thank you for that and give you an update on a few other things. We are now selling online memberships for the Aquatic Center. Our normal programs have always been in the ActiveNet system, so you could register online from home, but now our memberships are online. So we'll, hopefully the next time I come in, I'll be able to report on if that's been any addition to our revenue there. I'd like to also report that the skate park security cameras have been installed. If you remember, those were in the budget. And we have a skateboard competition planned for May 16th. That's always really popular. We try to do the one once a year. I'd like to do them more, but it's kind of hard to get that group wrapped up and get a competition going. So that's an exciting event. We also have an Eagle Scout that has come forward at the Aquatic Center named Will Rhodes. And he has asked if he could build a 12 by 20 open shelter down at the Aquatic Center. And so working with our building inspections department with Mr. Henline and Bill Aldridge, we have met several times, and that will be erected this spring. And it'll be placed actually on the other side of the restroom that we put in. should be perfect. I'm hoping for it to be real nice and an opportunity for the kids to get out of the weather when it's raining and those type of things, and also to hold these events. If you've been to the Aquatic Center lately, you may have noticed that there's banners hanging in the competitive side of the facility. Those banners rent for $500 each a year. We've sold 9 of them, so I'm pleased with that. And I want to report who they're from. We have 2 from Duncan Auto, 3 from Cold Stone, Fairfield Inn, Holiday Inn Express, Holiday Inn in Christiansburg, and First and Main in Blacksburg. So those are really just word of mouth. I'm looking for the opportunity to really get into the community, and I don't think they haven't been any trouble at all selling what we have, so that's very nice. In April, we have the Adult Learn to Swim Month. We're going to be offering free adult Learn to Swim clinics, obviously for the adults, so we hope to get them in there and take away that fear factor that they may have in the water. Barry? I have to say that. I try to get Barry in the water all the time. Also, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we thank you for that. I do serve on the Montgomery County Prevention Partners Committee, so because of that, I was able to partner with NRVCS, which is a New River Valley Community Services, to help me come up with some ideas of how we can advertise that at the Aquatic Center. You will see a big banner, a 3x15 banner down in the lower entranceway into the Aquatic Center recognizing that month. And also we will have it on the big screen at the Aquatic Center, and the entire month we'll have an informational table listing different resources and things like that for people to go to. So I'm an advocate of that, and I really appreciate the push to recognize that. May is our Water Safety Day. It's a one-time event with demonstrations and informational booths, and of course the goal there is to educate our residents and our citizens on water safety and prevent drowning. And of course, June is our world's largest swim lesson. If you're not familiar with that, we take part with every other aquatic facility in the world, and it's held on the same day at the same time. So that's kind of neat to be part of that program. Up and coming is our 5-year celebration. It's kind of hard to believe, 5 years. It goes quick. It's going to be the weekend of June 26th. The advisory board has a lot of great ideas. I'd like to share a few with you tonight. On the Friday night of that weekend, they would like to have a beach band on the patio, the outdoor patio, along with all of the food trucks in the main parking lot right outside of there. So the access would be right on the patio. It'll be free swimming that night. And then on Saturday, we're hoping to kick off at 2 o'clock until closing approximately 6:30 with free day again, with hopefully having the mayor speak around 2 o'clock and introducing some of our high school diving championships, the diving team, the high school team, any of the senior Olympians that we have. We'll have cake and games and demonstrations on the pool deck, such as kayak and scuba, different things that we do at the Aquatic Center for that day. And of course, both those events would be free for the public to come in and visit their Aquatic Center. The summer swim camp is coming up. That's a weekly registration, which includes swim lessons, crafts, hikes, science, cooking. I'm looking forward to an access point to the park behind us at one point where we could have a bridge. But right now, we can kind of make our way through there and make it a science project on our way to the playground to play. So it's a really neat summer camp. Parents can register for 1 week or the entire summer. Our last big swim meet, for the season is coming up. It's going to be March 19th through the 22nd. It's the U.S. Swimming Speedo Eastern Zone Sectionals, and it'll host about 800 swimmers. So if you've noticed lately, we definitely have been in the swim season at the Aquatic Center. It's been busy and hectic and a lot of things going on. Our annual rescue report is down this year, and I'd like to attribute that to the fact that we've taught 2,888 people how to swim at the Aquatic Center. 1,200 of them come from the residents here in Christiansburg, and 1,600 from non-residents. So when I say the report is down, the rescue report is recorded every time a lifeguard has to go into the water for a save, or if we have a first aid, anything like that, a report is documented. In 2013, we had 192 rescue reports for the year, and in 2014, we had 147. So I'm really pleased with that. Coming from the outdoor industry, you'd see probably 20 to 30 of those a day. So I think we're, real pleased with that. And it's educating the citizens. If they don't know how to swim, we have life jackets available. March 28th, we'll hold a Passport Day at the Christiansburg Aquatic Center. Families can bypass the courthouse by visiting the Aquatic Center that day. So you don't have to go through all the alarms and the bells at the courthouse. You can come to the Aquatic Center. With each completed passport, you'll receive a pass to the Aquatic Center for another day of free admission. That's a pretty neat idea, because if you are looking for a passport and you have a huge family, you have to get everyone together and go at one time, both parents. Our summer brochure is available in April. You may see a little bit of change in that. We're kind of distributing our marketing money a little bit different. I'm going to try different things this year to see if we can pull in some different avenues. I'm going to put in a 4-page flyer or brochure into the Roanoke Times on a Wednesday and Sunday distribution, which will serve 18,000 homes. In that flyer will be a free pass to the Aquatic Center. So I'm hoping at that point, I'm going to get them in the door and we'll go from there. So you'll see some changes with that. Of course, social media is really big in advertising, including Facebook. So you're going to see that market really drive up, at least for the Aquatic Center. Our goal is to increase foot traffic and obviously promote the Aquatic Center. With that being said, I would not leave here tonight without asking for your support in the upcoming budget. Once again, I'm asking for the LED sign and funds to support our own webpage. These are the only requests in the budget that give the community the opportunity to feel and see on a daily basis. The sign has the ability to display weather alerts, emergency notifications, and amber alerts. If not for the Christiansburg Aquatic Center, let's look at it to benefit our citizens. Let's give them the tool that they have requested so we are able to communicate to them imperative events, not only of the Aquatic Center, but for the entire town. The sign will become the much-needed communication tool for our residents. As each year passes, I'm convinced that it may be the missing link to increase business and progress for the Aquatic Center. As always, thank you for your support and your recognition of the Aquatic Center throughout our community. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just had a real quick comment. It's very impressive, the community partners that you've paired with. NRVCS, their mental health leader of the New River Valley, by far. Montgomery County Public Schools, you'll have had the young kids in there, and that's certainly why I'm very partial. The child abuse prevention, I had no idea you all were doing that, and I think that's fantastic, the way you are going to just embracing that. Floyd Regional Library, so again, it's a lot of congratulations the way you've been able to pull some of those entities in. And NRVCS is a huge entity in and of itself anyway, but to be able to partner and pair with them is fantastic. And the banners, that's one thing I hope the council is aware of, that Brad's here as well, but both of our recreation venues, the aquatic and recreation venues, have used the banners, what you're using, and the old scoreboards is what Brad has been using, and they're selling advertisements off of those. So it's not just sitting dormant, in other words. There's space that's being used and generating revenue in and of itself. So again, that's thinking outside the box. I think that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. So again, the child abuse prevention, that's fantastic what y'all are doing down there.
I've been hearing you for the last couple of years.
I think that's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was gonna save this comment till the end, but I thought maybe it fit in here well. I'm not sure if you know it, but there has been swim meets at the Aquatic Center the last 2 weekends. And 2 weekends ago, we had 700 kids. I believe there were 700 kids there between the ages of 8 and 16. And this past weekend, they had about 450 adult swimmers. And both of them were 3-day meets. And if you put all that together, to me, this is an unbelievable figure. A conservative estimate, these people had 11,000 meals during these 2 weekends. And you think about it, the town gets 7% out of each meal. And all these people came here for those 2 swim meets, and if it wasn't for the Aquatic Center being here, they wouldn't be coming, and we wouldn't get those 7% out of those 11,000.
Hey Terry, how many youth participate in the summer swim camp?
In the summer, it's low. I'm hoping this year with some new marketing ideas that we can really get that. my goal is to reach 20 a week. That doesn't sound like a lot, but we're competing with a lot of different camps that are in our area. Adventure Club has a wonderful camp, so as a parent, it's easy to just allow your child to stay in that program through the summer. So we have a lot of competition, but if I could have 20 kids a week, I would be very pleased.
What time does it operate?
7:30.
7:30. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Terry. This is our citizens' comments section, where citizens that would like to address council for any mean matter or anything that's on their mind, would ask you to come forward, state your name and address your comments to the chair.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm here tonight, Steve Simone's 448, office address, 325 Windsor Drive. I'm here tonight for a couple reasons, but first, I've had the honor of being elected president of the New River Valley Home Builders Association for the next 2 years. And just wanted to say thank you to Brad and his group. We have coming up this weekend our big 2015 Spring Home Expo at the Rec Center Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The town and Brad's staff have always been great to work with, and the town has been always extremely supportive of builders and the development community for letting us do this event at the Rec Center every year. So I'd welcome you all to come out. I'll be out there most of the weekend, as well as a lot of our builders and vendors. So thank you, and just wanted to get that out there to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That is a great event. It's growing bigger and better every year. Is there anyone else to address council? Hearing no one, I will close the citizens' hearing portion, and we'll go to discussion by mayor and council members. Council action on a subdivision plat for New River Village Townhomes located near River Village Drive, creating 1 to 2 lots. This is carryover from February 10th and February 24th, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the subdivision plat for New River Village Townhomes.
Have a motion?
Second that.
Have a second? Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you poll council, please?
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop?
Aye.
Councilman Hall?
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Showalter?
Aye.
Councilman Van Hoosier?
Aye.
That would be 5-0. Thank you very much. The motion, the subdivision plat is approved. Council reports. Now, wait a minute, Henry, I'm sorry, I got one more thing for you. You wanted to talk about,
Yeah, over the years, Barry's always come to us about adding teeth to our ordinances and other, rules, et cetera. But I think we need to look at our review or have Barry, if you could look in to see if there's any teeth we can put into our rules for business licenses, violators of building permits, building inspections, things like that. I know we have certain fees, but is there any more teeth that we can put in? Possibly, suspend certain violators. And I know the town works very well, and I encourage that we continue to do that and not be a one-time and then you're on probation or something like that. But to look to see if we have repeat offenders, what sort of teeth you can put in to ensure that our citizens are getting the best product that's available. And of course, that's up to council, whether or not we want to look into it.
yeah, we
Gordon,
could.
got anything to add?
No, I was asking Jim a question. No, I think it's something we've talked about for a long time. It's that the way in which we can, again, approach these issues and frankly know that we have on council that we're not rubber stamping things, that we have an opportunity to get at the heart of a matter. And then also, of course, it's about accountability, and clearly. And I think that unless you're in that particular field, you don't know what types of questions to ask for, how you can input or import or create more of a, strengthen an ordinance. And that's why I'd really like to lean really hard on Barry and Randy about how we can do that. I know we don't want to be up here and we hear community complaints, citizen complaints. It'd be nice to be able to go out and say, well, this is what we're doing to combat that, or let us know this, and we're going to keep it running tally so we can kind of keep our own facts and figures on that. But I would agree with Henry. I'd like to know what we can do And I appreciate our town attorney and enlightening us as well on maybe ways we can approach things in the future.
I think it's always important to periodically review your procedures and your processes and so forth to see what you can learn from lessons learned and what you can do different in the future that may make it better for all of us. So I support doing something like that.
I know every time we get together, we talk about something, and we always have one of those aha moments about, we never thought about that before, and we wish we would have done that, so.
You wanna, Barry, would you like to take a look at future agendas and see if there's a time within the next month or so we can, I know we're getting fast on the budget process, and I wanna make sure that's done, but sometime in the next couple of months, maybe set up a time that we can rediscuss this.
And I think it also goes well with the last couple of years, we've done things like public accommodations, we tried to push the envelope a little bit more. I think we're being proactive and try to be on the cutting edge. So again, I think this all flows very well into kind of a commitment we've all had for the last 24 to 36 months. So.
And, well, I think we should have a work session after the budget. That would give Barry enough time, our town attorney enough time, but also, we also gotta consider past violators that we have record of. I mean, I don't wanna entirely just start the clock from here on down the road, but if we have documentation that we have some response that we could do to look at those as well, if we can.
After the budget process, is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's a good point, and I think, that's one of our main jobs here as on the council here, is to make sure that our town residents have the best facilities that they can, and I think that's good. That's a good way to put it out, Henry, and we should look into it and make sure we're doing the right things.
Okay. Very good. Council reports. Mr. Hopper?
Well,
You shot all of it out there with the aquatics. You got anything else to say?
Are you going to volunteer money to anybody else?
I'm glad you appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. I had two other points, though, is I had several people come to me this past week and told me how they appreciated that newsletter that was got in there with the water bill. And I think that, and how well it was done, and believe it or not, the comments that the mayor made, they thought were very good too. And so I think that it's a very good thing that we're doing. And the other point I have is, several people have talked to me too, what a good job that the town has done with snow removal during the month of February. And you guys have done a super job, and I hope that will pass on to the people who should know about that. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Showalter?
Now, the mayor wasn't one of those people who complimented
Do what?
the mayor's section of the newsletter. Is that what it was?
No, I'm just saying they commented on approving the mayor's comments that he made.
I like that. I like the
Yeah.
newsletter. But I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. Hall for the, if you want to mention our meeting. On
The Water and Sewer Committee meeting?
Water, sewer, solid waste.
Well, I thought.
When you get to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, I
I'll
have
get to
nothing.
him. All right.
Just-
I have a
Jim,
couple.
any more shocking announcements? You blew us out last week.
He's going to run.
No, I had a couple of things I did want to bring up, and Terry has touched on one of them already. At the February 4th Aquatic Center Advisory Board meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the Aquatic Center having its own website. And they had asked me if I would contact Mr. Helms and the administration to see what their thoughts were on that. And Mr. Helms, I think his direct comment to me was, it's probably about time that the Aquatic Center has its own website. And one of the things that brought this to mind, I was on MapQuest, and I'm planning on taking some seniors up on a trip in Pennsylvania, and I was looking at the return from Gettysburg to Christiansburg. And so I just plugged in on MapQuest, Gettysburg to Christiansburg, and the first thing that popped up for the site that I wanted in Christiansburg was the Aquatic Center. So I thought, it's getting some recognition out there, so it should have its own website. So after talking to Mr. Helms and we discussed it, we have asked Terry, and she is doing so, is to put in her budget request the costs for the creation of the website and the maintaining of it, so we can take a look at it at the budget time we're going through. The second thing that came up at that meeting, the memberships, they suggested that they felt like the town should give a membership to all full-time employees and fire department and rescue squad volunteers to membership to the aquatic center each year. And talking once again to Mr. Hams and some other folks, they felt like that if we do that, probably the appropriate thing would do is to also give them an option on an annual basis to pay the difference between a single membership and what a family membership would be, or a couple membership, whichever is appropriate, and let them be able to sign up their family that way, and that would increase. Because if you give it just to the employees and the volunteers, then, you know, it leaves your family out in the cold, so to speak, unless they buy a membership. But this way, by having a membership, we'd get more folks in there using it and so forth, and hopefully they can encourage their friends to come and things like that. So I'd like to see the council consider that and go along with it. I think it's a great step forward.
I remember that we discussed about 3.5 years ago, we came up to council, talking about the police department at the time, and about granting them the permission to use the facilities. And then we tweaked it where I think it was employees that that had been injured or were going through recent type of rehabilitation. We talked about that to a degree. I can't remember exactly nothing I guess came of it, but we discussed it there for a time, but it was about 3 or 4 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been almost 5 years. What I have to offer, I'll hit on the water and sewer in a minute, but first let me real quickly touch on the child abuse prevention. The speakers are lined up. I've given Barry a couple of names, but nothing specific as far as what days and times. The one last speaker I'm waiting on is going to be from Montgomery County Department of Social Services through ongoing services and support for foster care, and I should hear something from them shortly, and I know they're going to do it. They're probably just determining into what capacity. The Water and Sewer Committee meeting, excellent meeting, I thought. Henry, again, you chime in on this as well. But we had a very good meeting, and I always forget, is it his name? Ricky. I don't know, I want to call him Randy every time. But Ricky gave us quite a bit to chew on. Specifically, we're looking at, and I don't mean to throw this out there, Mr. Mayor, but I'm going to throw it out there. Mandatory garbage, something that's going to come up again over the next year or so, and there's a reason for that, is because we're also looking to study the utility behind that, but also the mandatory recycling efforts, which when we go, if we're looking at 2 different types of the same types of bins, but different colors, and one would be for your recycling, which is going to cut down. We have to get a different truck to be able to pick that up, but it's going to cut down on the quite a bit on our landfill usage, things of that sort. There's a lot to be gained by that. Well, they're also studying the utility of continuing the commercial program. I think we're set it for maybe 6 months to get a report back on that, Henry. Is that correct? And when we get that back, basically to see if we're going to invest in the next trucks or the new trucks going forward, if we can reinvest that money into something that's more, maybe more applicable to what we need currently at for the town. Wayne was able to, Wayne talks about the water and sewer, and I just nod my head, and it sounds good, but because I don't understand exactly what he's it's engineering, and he breaks it down where we understand it, but when I leave 5 minutes later, I don't understand it again. I have to listen to what he has to say once more. But he's definitely looked at, I think they designated 9 to 10 areas, correct, on sewer and water, future developments, future plans, pump stations, refurbishing or modifying, changing, upgrading, I think it's his word. Even PVI, wasn't that pressure? PIV, see? PRV, see, pressure regulation valve, is that right? Something like that. Reducing. They threw a lot of terms at us, but what it demonstrated obviously is that they're looking at this over a period of years, and that way they can plan in the budget. And of course, I'm sure that Wayne's got a reputation for getting those grants, and I'm sure he's going to be applying for those. The green initiatives is what we're looking at right now for the trash pickup and getting into the recycling. I'm sure we're hopeful that we can tap into some federal money to be able to help us out with that going forward. It's a big investment, but again, if we can roll over that commercial program money into that, if we don't continue that, and that's when we can take care of that and help to not put the burden on the citizens. That's pretty much where we're at right now with the Water and Sewer Committee.
Okay. Anything else? You good?
Hey, believe it or not, he just scratched the surface.
Yeah, it was a long meeting.
Okay, well, Mr. Bishop.
I reached out to the fire and rescue, and they didn't have anything to report.
Very good. I received a letter this morning. This is getting to be old hand, which is good. This is from Government Finance Officers Association addressed to the Mayor Barber. We're pleased to notify you that your comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014 qualifies for a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by the government and its management. They have listing the award to Val Tweedy, Director of Finance, and I have spoke to Val. This is the third year now. Very good. So it all has to do with the openness of government and these type of things. So Val, thank you. Thank your staff for us. I know it's certainly not a one-person effort, but we do appreciate it, and I wanted to bring that to your attention.
I will make one point. We have a finance committee meeting at 7:30 on the 16th, which is Monday. 7:30 in the morning, that is.
Okay. All right, any, Mr. Helms, got any town managers report?
Within the next couple of weeks, either the next meeting or the following meeting, Ricky Bourne's going to come and talk about snow removal operations, give you an overview of what happened this year. And he asked if you have any questions, you go ahead and send them to me ahead of time, and you try to make sure you can answer them. So,
You heard some good reports on that, Mr. Helms, from individuals in the town. I've heard wonderful things this year about our snow removal compared to a lot of adjacent localities.
there's been a few complaints. Mostly what I heard
Right.
was compliments.
How's our budget doing on snow removal?
We were noted on the.
Close yet, we had to spend it, so I think
We're in good shape.
our salt bin's pretty empty. We'll be refilling it. At your place, there's this little brochure. It's drive tourism, and within the next two meetings, I'm going to see if Randy Rose from the State Tourism Office will come and explain this and talk about the advantages. They're holding a spot for us if the town of Christiansburg would like to go through this program. And what it helps do is develop a product, do your product development focus for trying to increase tourism in town. And it's not really something that the tourism office should do. It's something we need to do within town, just to concentrate things in town. So I'm gonna ask him to come, and he's working on his schedule. As soon as I'll put him on the agenda, and he'll talk about it. If you would at least read through this between now and then, just so you have a general idea of what it's about.
A little bit about it, you might participate in the strategic plan of the Montgomery County Tourism, which we're part of. Mr. Rose, he was part of that. He was a speaker at almost every event that we had, so I think he knows what he's talking about.
You already heard about the little free library at Depot Park. The Civil War Trails, it's 150th anniversary of the end of the Civil War, and there's several activities going on around town. And one thing they'd like to do is put a placard up, and we talked about it earlier, y'all agreed to do that. I need to sign an easement for them to put it probably up on the square near the Confederate monument. So I wanted to ask permission to sign that easement, so they put the sign up. They maintain it, they put it up, maintain it. We don't have to do anything as far as that goes. But I don't think I can sign an easement without y'all's permission.
Have you seen the sign, what it looks like or anything?
No, we had the wording, I haven't seen the actual sign.
You got the wording?
Yes, that was, I think all of you received that, been 2 or 3 months ago. I'll send it out again.
Okay. Sounds like something we should do.
You know, there's several of them around the state, and people will be going from place to place to visit all of them.
Okay.
And I learned something else this week. Christiansburg had the largest deactivation of a of Confederate troops in the nation, or in the state behind Appomattox. So we'll have a museum over at Smithfield Plantation is planning a little ceremony about the deactivation of those units.
I heard it was something like
Next
6,000.
month.
6,000 troops surrendered right here in Christiansburg.
So, but I'll get the wording back out to you again. Is it okay for me to sign the,
Do you need a voice vote on that, Mr. Helms?
please?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to sign the easement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Certainly there are none. Okay, Mr. Helms, sign away.
And that's all I have, sir.
Oh, you have. I will add two things on our next agenda, the 24th. Under our consent agenda, we will be looking at the Child Abuse Prevention Month. We will be looking at Mr. Hall's wrestling resolution.
Right.
And I'm looking at one with, in conjunction with Montgomery County Public Schools. They're doing call it C2G, Commit to Graduate. So we're gonna proclaim that week, and put some enforcement behind it with the town as far as encouraging our employees to wear their school colors, their school, college or high school logos, just as a talking point about to other students in town. So those are the three things I have coming up, and it may be more, it may be less, we'll see.
Do you want to have a voting on the tourism for the museum?
All right,
He's
now.
not ready, are you?
No, I'm not ready yet. I don't have all the figures.
Okay.
Jim B?
Yeah, I brought up this thing about the free membership or pass to full-time employees and the rec department and fire department volunteers, with the option for them to buy a family membership or a spouse, if so be the case. I didn't hear any comments. How's council feel about that?
I think it's great. Of course, I'm not council, I'm just a mayor.
Right, I mean, it's good for our employees. I mean, couldn't we look into giving our citizens who actually, most who live here, because I know there's, only 30–40% of our employees live within the town, pay tax on it. I'd like to see maybe expanding that and giving our citizens a certain number of passes per year.
I think that's something we could take a look at probably at the next board meeting and come back with a recommendation.
And possibly our town employees could get that same, like 6 free passes per year or something.
Well, I was looking at giving the town employees the pass.
But maybe
Yeah.
having, if we decide to do something for the town citizens as a whole,
As a whole,
that we
give them additional
give
six,
like say we do 6 for town citizens, 6 free passes a year.
so
Do
they
the
could
same
bring
thing for our
somebody new
employees.
with them or something like that.
The only thing I would think about is you don't want to give out too many of these free passes. I mean, we're trying to get up revenue right now, and I understand you think they're gonna bring in other people, but I can see maybe discounts, but if we give away too many free passes, the joint's gonna be full of people, but they're all on free passes, and we're not, we'll lose money.
I think we can maybe, instead of having
We
it,
need a middle ground here on this.
I think in lieu of having it during a formal discussion, we could have a work session.
We could add it to one of these
Get some
things
of
that
the
we've got.
numbers,
Sure,
some of the possibilities.
sure.
I think
So
that
we
would
can
be good.
discuss it.
Very good. Mr. Helms, you're done, right?
Yes, sir.
I would certainly entertain this motion. We'd like to hear everything.
So-
So moved.
Second? We're done. Kevin? Just a minute.